Hello and welcome to another episode of This Week in Business. Let's see what the world has to offer. Well, first of all, let's start with kind of a big one actually, which is the European leaders have agreed on increasing defense support for Zelensky after the United States decided to essentially abandon them. Like I said, Trump decided to stop aiding Ukraine, saying that they have supported them more than anybody else, even though that is factually incorrect. But still, he said that, and now the European Union has rallied to better support Zelensky and Ukraine against Russia, mainly because they fear that if Russia were to ever get past Ukraine, nothing really would stop him from trying to encroach on European Union territory. So, in order to try to deter that from happening, they want to support Ukraine. France even went as far as to say that they were willing to provide nuclear assistance to their allies in case it was necessary. That is, I believe, more of a show of strength, more so than an actual decree that they will use nuclear weaponry, because nobody wants that. But still, the point is, the European Union is strongly becoming more and more independent with or during Trump's administration, I should say. Not a bad thing for them. It's just kind of curious to see that for decades, the United States set up a lot of systems around the world to essentially kind of control it to a certain degree, or at least have a lot of influence in it. And in just 6 short weeks, Trump has made a fantastic job of weakening that web of influence. I'm not entirely sure what his long-term plan is, but, well, this is one of the results of that. Continuing to something still in the European Union, but different, it's Germany, more specifically with DHL, as they are cutting 8,000 jobs. That is insane. According to statistics, that is 1.3% of DHL's global workforce. Not a small amount at all. Now, the thing is, the company is not really doing super well, even though the expectations that they had for last year's financial numbers were exceeded. They had an earning of $5.89 billion, and expectations were at $5.81 billion. That was still a 7% decrease from the previous fiscal year's earnings. So they're beating expectations, but expectations are in the dump, essentially. Additionally, the company is just performing worse than its logistic competitors, or at least competitors in the logistics industry. So these job cuts are not super surprising in that respect, but it's still an immense number. And it just sucks that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, especially because the worldwide economy has been slowing down. Talking about the worldwide economy slowing down, American businesses are also nervous. So there's this company called ADP, and they are a data processing company. They have stated that the private sector employment had a 77,000 increase in February. Sounds like a lot, but that was also half of what economists were expecting. And mainly this is because there's the feeling in the United States that inflation is going to rise a lot. So consumers are spending less, they're trying to save their own money, and companies are therefore trying to avoid risk by hiring people that they might not be able to, keep. Other economists, the ones that thought that it was going to be about 140,000 jobs in February, have expected or are expecting there to be 160,000 jobs, gotten in March. ADP is not so sure. And, well, a bit of positivity to end, or at least a little bit of positivity if you're from Mexico. US, Canada, and Mexico relationships are weird currently. Why do I say this? Well, the reason is very simple. US and Canada are kind of fighting each other. They're butting heads. They're not getting along. US and Mexico seem to be on surprisingly more stable ground. This is mostly because there hasn't been a greater number of insults thrown at each other's administrations, unlike the U.S. Canada one, but also just the fact that you know, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum was able to deter Trump's tariffs for another month. She had already done this in February. She had deterred the 25% tariffs until March, and she was already able to do this again until April. So, second time in a row that she's been able to do this, despite the fact that Trump has said that there would be no further negotiation. So, you know, and yeah, it's not been so bad for Mexico in that regard. Sheinbaum's administration is also actually fighting a lawsuit against U.S. gun manufacturers for letting their weapons get in the hands of cartels. They are saying that there's been negligence on the U.S. gun manufacturers in terms of managing their inventory and how to who they're selling stuff and how they're selling their stuff. Trump has called the cartels terrorist organizations, but this has kind of benefited Sheinbaum's cause because this means that the gun makers let their product in the hands of terrorists instead of just criminals, essentially. So, honestly, so far so good for her presidential run. Both presidents are very early on in their own cycles. So who knows how this is going to develop? It's too early to say whether or not this is going to stay the same or if their relationship is going to deteriorate. God damn it, sorry. But still, point is, she seems to be doing a decent job so far. Hopefully, for Mexico's sake, it'll last. And that would be all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I get to see you in the next one, and have a very good day.